This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and I am pissed off, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive my language, but I wanted to go live today to get something off my chest, and I really wanted it to come from the heart, and I also wanted it to be a timely post because this is something that is trending right now, and that of course is the George Floyd Memorial, which is a huge slap in the face to all of those family members out there who have had their family members die during the COVID-19 pandemic, and they haven't been able to have funerals to this day for their loved ones. Yet these celebrities and virtue signalers can gather together shoulder to shoulder to honor a man they didn't even know. My friend's dad died during the COVID-19 pandemic, and he hasn't been allowed to visit his dad for the last 2 months. They transferred him to another facility where he's not allowed to check in on him, to see what the conditions are like, to see what the doctors and the nurses are like. When they told him that he can no longer visit, he found out that the hospital staff did not even inform his father of why his son was no longer visiting him. He was essentially in a vegetative state. His son had to demand that they put a phone up to this man's head so he could explain to his dad why he was no longer visiting. That is wrong, folks. When he died, he had to go pick up his belongings from the curb, from some hospital staff who came out looking like they're dressed in hazmat suits. And here we have these politicians and celebrities and virtue signalers joining together in solidarity for George Floyd, a man they don't even know. This is virtue signaling at its worst. It's absolutely disgusting. 2 weeks ago, I'm being called a nanny killer for going out and covering some of these protests that are against the lockdown measures that have huge implications about, what may lead to even more deaths than COVID itself. And I'm called the nanny killer. Fast forward to now, there's trending videos on Twitter of hospital staff cheering these protesters for their bravery. Why? Because it's political. They're virtue signaling. It's so hypocritical that it's unbelievable. So if you're one of these people who are sharing these George Floyd Memorial links, and do not get me wrong, justice needs to be served. Those officers who were involved in the brutal death of George Floyd need to be brought to justice. But if you can't see the hypocrisy in having all these celebrities join together and having the media promote this event while they call other protesters nanny killers, then you're not seeing the bigger picture. Then you're not paying close enough attention to just how brutal this hypocrisy really is. So we really need to honor the lives of those who have been lost during COVID-19, who have died alone in hospital beds without their families being able to visit them. You know, my friend is trying to organize this funeral. His dad, who died, had 10 children. Where the funeral is, they're not even allowed to have more than 10 people gather. How is that going to work? Most of his kids are in the US. They can't even travel to Ontario right now to attend this. Yet the George Floyd Memorial is allowed to go on, and it's being praised. If you can't see how hypocritical that is, guys, I don't know. Maybe you're lost. Maybe you have been watching too much television. Maybe you are caught up in the hype. But look, 2 friends of mine's fathers have died in the last 2 months, and they are not allowed to have a funeral. They are not allowed to visit. They don't have any say in what goes on with the body, even, essentially, to this point. I mean, it's been a struggle. It's been a pile of bureaucratic red tape for them. But this memorial for George Floyd, oh, let's just ignore social distancing altogether. And look, I think it's ridiculous in the first place. There is no science behind this 6 feet social distancing nonsense in the first place. So I'm not trying to sit here and say that they should have been doing that at this rally. I'm just showing you the sheer hypocrisy from the mainstream media, from these healthcare professionals. Did you know that Dr. Tam came out saying, you know what, go to these protests, but don't yell because you're going to spit droplets of your, potentially contaminated saliva into the air. Bring instruments, she said, pots and pans, bang them together. But yes, go out and gather together and protest these important causes. 2 weeks ago, you were calling me the devil. These people were saying that I was putting myself, in this position to prop myself up. It's absolute nonsense. Now they're cheering for the protesters who are getting out in the streets for George Floyd. Again, justice needs to be served for the family of George Floyd and for George Floyd himself. Those officers need to be held accountable. But it is so unbelievably hypocritical of society to champion for such a funeral when my friends have had to watch their own loved ones die alone. And in my one friend's case, he didn't even know why his son was no longer visiting him. As I said, he had to demand that they put the phone up to his head so he could explain to his dad why he wasn't coming anymore. That's wrong. This needs to stop. And again, if you're getting in on this virtue signaling, this rallying cry behind the George Floyd Memorial, don't get lost in the hype. Don't forget, there are thousands of people who are not having funerals right now, who have to say their goodbyes in other ways. And it's just not right. Something that was weighing on my heart today, guys, that I wanted to go live to express my views on. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you agree that it's quite hypocritical that everybody is just kind of saying how great this memorial is, when we have absolute travesties happening right here at home when it comes to our own friends and family members who can't visit their own family members? Why is that? It's not right. It's absolutely wrong. And, I had to bring it to your attention. I mean, look at what's going on in Ontario. The Canadian military blew the whistle on these long-term care facilities that were absolutely brutal conditions in there. These people are dying left, right, and center. The majority of Canadians, I believe it's 82% of the COVID deaths, are coming from these long-term facilities. And all the family members of those people haven't been allowed to visit their family members, and they're currently not allowed to host a funeral. But hooray for the George Floyd Memorial, because, Ludacris and whatever other rappers and pundits and political talking heads joined together in solidarity for this cause. When people like I do it, we're called nanny killers. It's absolutely brutal. It's absolutely wrong. We need to honor the deaths of those who have died during COVID-19, who died alone because the government put a stop to their families being able to organize, to visit, and to hold funerals. Please get this information out there, guys. This is trending right now, as I said, which is why I wanted to go live to get this off my chest, so you guys understand the gravity of the situation. This is, again, as I said, an absolute travesty, and it needs to stop. Please share this video. Click the thumbs up button. I know it's weird to click the thumbs up button and share a video with the title like this, but we need people to turn off their TVs, guys, and to stop getting so caught up in the hype, and to get back to the community level. You know, start thinking about your loved ones, your friends, your family. And let's keep it real, all right? Moving forward. So, just something I wanted to bring to your attention, guys. Let me know what you think, once again, in the comments section below. Do you think it's time they lift these lockdowns on funerals? Especially when they're allowing these virtue signaling celebrities to join hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder at this massive memorial? I see it as pretty hypocritical myself. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And that's all, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. Please, share this video. Let people know that this is wrong and it needs to stop. Rest in peace, Bob Jackett. Rest in peace.